Good morning. I'm on my way to the cabin. I haven't been out here since May, and it was snowing the last time I was here. You can see it's quite different. Very thick brush. I stumbled across this raspberry patch. It is probably, I don't know, 150 by 50 feet. Just huge. So I have to come back here. But I'm actually off course. I came down into this forest in the wrong area. Anyways, I'll come back here later and I'll see you at the cabin. Just coming up to the cabin now. Just going to do a little walk around and see if anyone was here. Front door is still secure. When I first opened up the door, I didn't know what to expect because there could be a hornet's nest in there for all I know. But I did my walk around and all seems to be well. Doesn't seem like anyone was here. So I wish there was a way for me to monitor what's happening out at the cabin when I'm not here, but there isn't. So at least once during the summer, I got to make a trip and do a cabin check. You know, I had a guy break in here a couple times, do some vandalizing. You never know if an animal broke in or a tree fell on this place. So I got to come out here at least once during the summer, and it's my least favorite time. The insects are just unbearable. The brush is so thick and deep, like chest deep. You know, I almost broke my ankle or twisted my ankle 20 times walking through this thick brush. You can't see what you're walking through. There's all kinds of fallen trees. And I have to wear my rain jacket out here because there's so much moisture on the brush that I'd just be soaked from head to toe. And here's one of the spruce trees I planted in May, still alive. It's a good sign. And here's another tree I planted, still hanging in there. But these tags are so faded on one side, I'm having trouble finding them. It's pretty thick down here. So I brought up my list of things to do and check on. I have my trail cam out here still, but I think it's going to be so buried in thick brush that I'm not even going to bother till late autumn. I know the batteries are dead in it, and it's probably so deep in brush that even if the batteries were okay, it's not going to be filming anything. So that will have to wait, but I need to grab my silicone gun for home. And I'm going to go through my pantry, look through anything that's expired, and bring home anything that I can use. There's probably some people watching that have never seen this cabin during the summer. It's a completely different world, so I'm going to cut in some winter footage and compare it to the summer footage. My cabin is very well hidden during the summer, but spring and the fall is when it's really vulnerable. This is my storage tent, and even it's starting to get buried with trees and brush, which is good. This whole area right there helps keep it covered from the hilltop. And I was going to go transplant some of those raspberries I found, but there's all kinds. This whole section right here is all raspberries, so I don't know if that's my doing from scattering seeds or just from nature. And this is my vegetable garden. I planted it in May. I planted peas, carrots, and beets. It is being taken over by raspberries apparently. But if I was out here all summer long weeding it, I think it'd do a lot better. But I plant it and just kind of leave it on its own. But there are carrots coming up. And this is one of my rhubarb plants. And we have have some, looks like zucchini of some kind that sprouted up here. I emptied out my cooler, and what I started doing last year was putting these grates on the bottom and then baking soda underneath that. Because last year I had a spill and it just made a huge mess in there, so I can see that happened again. I had something leaking and all that baking soda just soaked it right up. And these racks keep everything off the bottom so it doesn't ruin everything. Well, the cooler's all cleaned up, organized. Unfortunately, I had to throw some stuff away. Some of this expired last year, actually. But I brought out some of this instant oatmeal. It's a really good survival food, actually. Lightweight, you can pack a whole bunch of these together. You can eat them dry or with boiling water, of course. They last a long time. You can put them in your vehicle for survival, a go bag, a backpack. So one thing I almost forgot to mention is this summer there's been so much scrap wood being thrown away at a couple of construction sites near my house that I have been thinking about extending this cabin. Just in my mind, I don't plan on doing it, but I was thinking about knocking down this back wall and going out 3 feet. Why 3 feet? You know, it'd be something that's manageable. I don't want it too big. And I'm just cutting up more firewood trying to heat this place. But it'd just be nice to have a bit more leg room in here. You know, during the winter I'm in here for 14, 16 hours at a time, and it, gets a little cramped. But since building this cabin 3 years ago, there's so many more fallen trees than there was before. It'd be next to impossible to get lumber out here. So I'm pretty much done out here. I wanted to show you the insect repellent that I use. It works really good, not just on mosquitoes, but everything. I also keep a notepad out here where I keep track of anything. Anytime I plant something or scatter seeds around or do a cabin check, I just write it down in here. I also brought out some dryer sheets. My dad swore by these. He used to keep a couple in his back pocket for mosquitoes, but I scatter them all around the cabin, in the bedding, in the mattress, everywhere. They're also good for keeping mice away, apparently. That's why I also keep bars of soap out here as well. And I got some fly traps, which I need for this fall. I'm going to hang them up now. And what happens is these blowflies, these big, huge blue ones, once fall hits, they want to come find a place to hibernate, and they seem to like the walls in my cabin. And what happens is, even if it's midwinter, when I get the stove going and it's going for, 10 hours, the walls heat up and the flies come back to life and they start coming out in the cabin, which is really annoying. So look what I found just about 10 feet away from the cabin. This big hornet's nest. Wouldn't want to accidentally kick that. But it's only barely a foot off the ground, and that usually indicates a mild winter. So we'll see what happens. So I guess that's it for this one. I'm happy all was well on this check. I'll probably be out here again in October. Depending on what happens, I might get a job that I might not be able to even come out here or have the time to come out here during the winter. Can't predict the future. So I'll see you next time. Just can't believe how much wild raspberry there is out here. I'm going to take some of this home. Let's see if I can get some of these seeds to grow. But this is all wild raspberry, and I got to walk through it.